Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Sit back and relax because today we're heading northeast to soak up new experiences at the UK's only beer spa. I'm Joanne and this is Tori,
Hello, hello.
and we're two beer loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us.
I like how soothing that was because I think
Did
there
you
was
like
only
that?
one.
I went soothing.
You went soothing, and then there was one point where I thought, "Oh, she's going to amp it up." It was when you were like,
I thought I was going to.
"We're heading with it," and then you started amping up, and then you went, "No,
yeah.
no, no,"
No,
and I could hear it in your voice.
You
You were like, "No, we're going to tone it back down."
And calm today because
Soothing, calm tones.
We're going to the spa. We're taking you to the spa.
We are going to the spa.
I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a spa person generally.
Me either. I will say I'm not. I don't dislike it. It's just not my preferred way to spend time.
Yes, 100%. That's it. Like,
because normally you're not drinking. You're not that I'm like I have to get pissed to go to a spa.
I'm not drinking. I'm not really a massage person.
I've only had one massage, and it's been in an office setting where somebody's come and given me like a back, upper back massage.
One of my colleagues gives really good shoulder rubs.
But that sounds really dodgy though when you say that.
He does. Like his job when we're at Brew is to come around and make sure we're all okay and give us a relaxing shoulder rub. Of his choosing, and we all consent to it, so it's all consensual.
I was going to say, it was more that you were like, of his choosing, we're not forcing him, but then you've got to also then preface it with, of our choosing as well, everyone's choosing.
It's fine, everybody's consenting.
Everyone does a consent handshake. They go, I consent to this, and I consent to give it, I consent to receive it.
I don't, I've had a facial, but I get a little bit of sensitive skin, so I don't really like that either. And I get a bit bored just sitting down, not doing anything.
That's my number one biggest problem.
Right? Which, that's a me problem. Like, I don't mind. You know what? I don't mind a bath and a bath bomb. But then I'm at home in my own space, and I stick my audiobook on, and it's nice. But spas are not necessarily my thing. However, got quite excited about the idea of a beer spa. So listeners, if you don't know what a beer spa is, I've seen them, and maybe Tori, you might have seen them somewhere else, but I know you can get them in the Czech Republic, and there's one in Orlando, Florida as well.
I didn't even know there was one in Orlando. I only knew about Budapest. I knew there's others throughout Europe, but I know Budapest was the one that was the one that I've heard about the most.
Yeah, one of my other colleagues was like, "Oh, there's one in the Czech Republic," and I was like, "Yes, I knew about that one." But it's like, that you see the pictures of them, and they're in a big wooden tub, and there's there's hops and malts in your tub because they're supposed to be really good for your skin and things, and it's just relaxing, and then usually there's unlimited beer for you to drink at the same time. So it's a bit of a beer geek's dream. So it opened in July last year. So that's relatively new, in the grand scheme of things. And it is at the Norfolk Mead near Norwich. And the spa was already there, but they've added in this beer spa. And my husband bought me a voucher for my Christmas present that was for a beer spa experience for two. Obviously, that's not for me and him. That was obviously for me and Tori. And so we booked it in January. We made our way there. It is a hotel as well, so you can stay at the hotel also. But we decided to stay in a couple of pubs, 12-minute walk down the road?
12-minute walk away. Yeah. They were adjacent pubs. I put all of this. I've actually done a blog post.
Oh my goodness.
I've actually done a blog post where I talked about sort of how we found the overall experience, what it is, where we stayed. I've linked to the actual rooms. I think for me, it was probably me because I was for one night, looking at the rooms at the Norfolk Spa, at the Norfolk Mead, it's really not. It's very boutique, very lovely, very relaxing. but it is the cheapest room is £145 a night as of
A little bit
when I
spendy.
double checked this month, because Rick and I originally looked for my birthday and we were going to drive there and drive home in the day. He was going to just not really drink. But then we kind of decided, for reasons we talked about, I think at the end of our recording, there was some pain points of booking. And I was like, can't be asked. It's too expensive as well. Let's just not do it. So when we booked this time, we found these really nice pubs about 12
Yeah.
minutes away that did the job for a night.
Yeah. And so we stayed there and we had a lovely time. So in the recording that you're going to get today, we recorded a little bit while we were in the spa. So it might be, listeners, that you might want to hop over to YouTube and watch this as well, because you'll see, like, we described what was going on and what we were doing, but also you can see, because we filmed while we were in there. And then we did a little debrief afterwards as well of what we thought. But I think we should probably cover kind of what our expectations going in were. So you get an idea of something in your head, and I'd seen the pictures and the videos from other things, and I kind of imagined like we were in kind of a like a tub each, and then you'd be drinking some beer and relaxing. But as I said, I'm not a spa person, so I'm not really sure of kind of the setup of spas. But I figured like you'd kind of come in, there'd be like a changing room, there'd be lockers or something where you could put your stuff in, and then you'd go in, and there'd be like 2 tubs, and we'd have a tub each, and we'd enjoy ourselves, and it'd be lovely. What were your impressions? Were you expecting?
So, I will agree with you on the front of like, I'm not normally a spa person because of the fact that I would find it really, I personally find the relaxing aspect
Air quotes.
boring, because to me, that's not how I relax. And I
Yeah.
would be like, and like, I like a particular type of music and I like noise levels and I like chaos. I thrive in chaos. I am chaos. And I think like for me going into it initially, I wouldn't normally go to a spa, but like you, I was quite excited because I was like, beer nerd
Because it's
stuff.
beer themed and we're beer nerds.
100%. And I've wanted to go to the one in Budapest for quite a while. Nearly went for my birthday. And then we decided, can we go closer to home instead? But I think going into it, when I had first seen it, the photos on the website, I didn't really do a massive deep dive. I read the press release. I was like, that's really cool. But the photo that they show at the headline, I talked about this in my blog as well. It's like the photo that they show when you click onto the beer spa, it's 2 people sitting in individual tubs. And I was expecting that it was going to be smaller tubs, individual tubs, and we're each going to have our own beer tap.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think from photos I've seen of other places as well, that's similar to what I was expecting. And then I don't know, like I kind of thought it would be, I don't know if I had much other expectations other than it being, I don't think I thought it was going to be as calming as it was. Like I've got an inflatable hot tub. I like sitting in the inflatable hot tub because I put the music I like on. I have beers. I'm out in the sun. It's fun. It's sociable. Obviously with the spa, I'm assuming it's going to be a lot more calmer and low key.
Yeah.
And I assumed it would be a private room. But I think it was a lot calmer than I thought it would be. And when we walked in there and there was like 1 tub filled up for the 2 of us,
Yeah.
before I realised it was a big enough tub, I was like, oh, that's weird. But okay.
And then have a romantic experience, listeners.
I mean, it was fun. We talked about there's no changing rooms as well, so it's very romantic.
Yeah.
But I think when I realised it was a big enough tub, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, fine, fair enough. But then I started worrying, like, is someone else going to come in at some point? And I was like, I could have sworn it was private. But when you go back and read it, it is definitely, I think you have to book for a minimum of 2 people. And I do think like you book the room. So you can have
the lady did
up
say
to 4 or 8 people.
We could, because I think we mentioned it as we were going out, and she was like, oh, yeah, no, we a room is for that booking. So even though there's 2 tubs, a tub is for 2 people. You get, depending on how many people are in your party, but your party gets that room. So you're not sharing with anybody else. But I was expecting us to have a tub each, and I didn't expect them to be as big. Like you'll see, we kind of stretch out a little bit so you can see how big the tub is.
We demonstrated by being like, I can't reach the other side.
Yes, you'll see that. But yeah, I'd expected that we'd have a tub each, but it was fine. I think it was fine. It was nice. There was enough room for us both. but yeah, you'll hear what we think as it's happening.
Yeah. I think I can't remember if we said it in the recordings, but I think I went in with the expectation of like I thought it was going to be a little bit more lively, and that's not a
Yeah,
negative thing. I think it's just like when I'm thinking of like more like rough and ready mainland European beers, was like I was thinking like it's going to be a lot more, I don't know, sociable, like louder, more whatever.
yeah.
And it
I mean, we
definitely, as
didn't
you'll
get
see in the
like
recording, it wasn't
some palm
like that.
music or anything, did we? It was very,
No.
very calming,
Which
relaxing
was fun because
music.
I
And
quite like the
yeah, it's
music, but
nice.
I almost felt borderline rude because we were like having a conversation and I kind of felt like it is a very relaxing, calming room. And I feel like I should be zenning, but we were just
Right,
like chatting away.
chatting and having a good time. Yeah. But yeah, I think it was really good. Right, so let's go into a
Cut to
bit
the
of the
recording.
recording. We'll cut to the recording. You can see the beer spa experience.
Thanks for the wonders of my smartwatch. Lovely, look, I'll bring it up to. So there's salts.
Oh
and
yeah,
there's
that's looking good. That's looking good.
stale hops, and then there's some very, 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 very crushed up malt there. Like that, you're gonna get. That is not the crush on that is way too fine. Like you're gonna get a stuck match with that bad boy.
And that's why I'm not. If I'm going to sprinkle anything on myself, it's not going to be with my wet hand.
Yeah, so I'll sprinkle some in. Like,
Let's
let's sprinkle
stuck
some in.
mash.
Ooh, we're gonna feel a stuck match.
I want a hot bake.
Hot babe.
Oh, it smells so good though. It does. What I will say, it does smell like when you have.
It smells, yeah, when you put it in the woods, you get that. Let's put some more hops in and see if we get a bit of.
And then there is genuinely.
Well, then there is generally still. Right, stop it!
So you know that goes into this is done. I just chucked them at you. That's what you do when you salt it. You just throw it out whatever's there.
I think it smells nicer when you put the malt in than it
The
does
malt.
the hops.
I think the malt is probably my favourite.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do some of that.
Oh god, yeah. Here's
Oh,
a.
that
Oh
bit.
god, I've got a chunk of pellet.
It's not finely crushed it. I'm covered in.
Right, okay, let's do a. I want the pellet back. Look at that pellet. Look at that cheap number 2. I mean, it looks really pale. It's lager
For you?
Oh, I was going to let you pour
Oh, you
yours
would,
first.
yeah?
You
You wanna pour your
yours.
own?
I thought
Okay.
I was going to pour you one, and then I thought you might want to pour your own.
It sounds alright.
You are at an advantage.
Yeah, because I'm in the right angle and you would not.
No, it's not. You know what though? It's not losing head though.
No, it's pretty good. Very good. You know, lovely silver tank so we can't see what it looks like.
Probably secret. Yeah.
Cheers.
Come back.
It smells nice. It's alright.
It's alright, it's not.
It's a lager. It doesn't, it tastes alright.
It actually, yeah, it's not inoffensive. It's not just very. Yeah, I mean they do have like a cover that goes on here, but like in here, really like weirdly.
Got like a drink.
Yeah.
Mm.
What will be really funny, I'm going to say this so it's on the recording because it would be really funny if we were here recording and then they let someone else in. There's another
There's
tub,
another tub.
which I did do like a quick video around the room, so hopefully that'll be there. But that is really funny because, yeah, if they come in and we're recording like it's on the like made up thing and we're here chuckling and going
Chucking away. Alright, so there are
we were asked if we like beer or if we wanted anything else. That was it.
Then we're going to bring some lemonade in case we wanted to make a shandy.
Good.
I
I
like
like
the
Prosecco, well, that was good. That's
Yeah.
alright. I did have my closet brewing beer jumper on as well, but it's covered so you couldn't really see it, so that's funny. And yeah, it was. So far, what's funny is like 45. We're in slightly early. They're like, you've got 45 minutes. Please drink as much as you can. I was like, personal challenge.
Personal
I will.
challenge, yeah.
I absolutely will. I think let's see how many. So it's obviously one. We'll see how many we can get.
That's what, half pint, you reckon?
Yeah, and I reckon we do it in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
Because
We're not chugging.
Not chugging. It's how big it is in case we have to try to work out measurements later. About the size of my hand.
Yeah.
Reasonable amount how much we would sit and drink normally without trying to go more. Taking it easy. And what's your experience or your thoughts so far?
I was quite surprised that there wasn't like somewhere to change, like there wasn't a changing room before you came in here.
I think it's supposed to be romantic. And
I suppose
guess
so.
it is.
I suppose so. I mean, you thought. So how this came about is that Gordon booked this for us and then changed his mind and decided that Tori and I should go instead. So it probably is quite romantic. If I think about, you know, I mean, I booked it, but he just got a voucher, so I booked it.
And I almost went with Rick for my birthday.
Yeah,
And then
so
we decided it was not something we could do
I think
in a
it
day.
would be quite, you know, it would be quite romantic. I mean, if you've got like other people over there though, not so much.
I reckon romantic, I wouldn't use the word romantic. Even like, it's intimate.
Intimate,
But like,
yeah,
I wouldn't
that's
even say like sexy intimate. Like,
No.
just intimate because
Yeah.
of, I mean, to be fair, it's quite a big tub.
It's quite a big tub.
I could put my legs out.
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
sat
can.
with my legs straight.
If I put my leg back, we don't want to get in foot space.
Yeah.
We don't want to be in like the feet part of the internet. Not quite into the feet part, it's a different part. So I'm not, those tootsies are, that's on the coffee, something like that. I reckon I can't even come close to touching it.
No,
So my back here, I can't even remotely touch it. So, I mean, it's as intimate as it can be. It's all nice wooden, it smells good. I would say it's intimate in a spa relaxing.
Yes.
Like, it does do that brief. And I think if you were going to come here as a couple for a
yeah,
day
nice.
and you're going to have massages and you're going to do everything,
Yeah.
this would be a nice little way to make it more...
Like it's fancy looking, right? When we came in, and it's like it looks like a little. They built this as like a. I don't want to say shed because that doesn't make it sound. It's like it's like a separate section to the hotel, which is for
Purpose-built.
purpose-built. And there's a nice little coffee shop, and they look like they have lovely cakes and snacks and a bar. So you can definitely enjoy yourself.
It feels like I need to whisper, but then obviously the acoustics in here, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to hear fucking anything we're saying.
You might
This
not
is
be
going
able
to
to
be
hear
interesting. The audio quality might be so bad. But interestingly, I think, like, if you're going on stereotypes, like the stereotypical experience, I think if you are a person that meets that, like, your couple meets that stereotypical brief of like men not liking to go to spas and stuff like that, I do think like this is a good way to everyone can enjoy this. I think it's not anything that's too, you know, feminine, too masculine. It's a nice neutral space.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I'm saying that not from my perspective because Rick would be in, he'd be happy regardless how spa, massage, and whatever else. I just mean if you are a person that's like, oh, I would love to get that for me and my partner, but I don't know, he's not really a spa person. More stereotypical gender roles, like.
So
it's neutral enough.
Gordon's not a massage person, he's a bath person, so I reckon he wouldn't mind this.
But I would say like there's nothing even here decoration-wise that's too.
It's just very relaxing.
It's very neutral in everything, and it is quite relaxing. The nice little, even the music's not too
very
much of
subtle. But
nice
it's not like
acoustic folk.
Yeah, it's not too music-y. It's like
That's what it is. It's not like jazz. It's not elevator music. It's very calm and acoustic. Like you're sat in a pub and someone's just playing in the corner.
Yeah.
Or darky.
Or a tavern.
Tavern, yeah.
Is there a tavern with a tankards? I've sucked this down pretty quickly. What would you tell me to say?
I haven't. I'm taking my time on this question. But yeah, we'll see.
So there are also those jets. Shall we try the jets?
Let's put the jets on, then I'll stop the recording for a bit, and then we'll come back and visit closer to the, you know, in a little bit's time. About 10 minutes in. Still only halfway through our second beer, and we've been chatting. It's been really good, but I wanted to say that we turned the bottles off for a bit anyway.
There are definitely chunks of pops.
There's chunks of hops, and the whole reason I should call it is because I was putting my feet on the ground. I was like, oh, there is pellets under my tootsies. Again, coffee content. That's
There's a bit of like a haze to this water now because we're basically making a mash.
Or we're gross. We're really gross. I took showers for me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. That's true. We're just making a very this is like a table beer mash that we're making here.
We kind of want to like. But also that's super gross. That is coffee.
That's
content.
coffee content.
That is
We're not
coffee
doing
content. That's
that.
not even coffee content. That is straight up only
Right, that's
content.
only content.
Someone saw bath water before. Like, we could do that beer spa bath water. This is never going to make it to the final video.
Excuse me, can you just drain the water out of this so that we can sell it?
This is being cut. There's no way that this is going on, and we're going to bleep all of what we just said out. But yeah, I feel like it's quite a challenge to drink. Like she was like, honestly, please drink that much. But when you're having a conversation,
Yeah, we haven't quite had 2 yet.
It's great. I've got 1.5 probably. The one thing I will say about the jets, for me, I do wish that they were back jets, but they're feet jets.
Yeah.
It's
Quite impressive.
all around the feet content.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
but yeah, we were just chatting Buffy
Yeah.
and Tim Burton and
Tim Burton,
the atrocities
Buffy.
of
Yeah, we're
of
not
the
gonna
world, which we won't
raise
talk
those
about.
people.
But yeah, so I guess we'll just carry on until beer number 3 if you have time for beer number 3. We'll see. We are topping up because we just stopped recording and decided it was 1:36 and we actually don't have that much time left. So we're topping up. So we will probably have had
1.5.
2.5 beers.
1.5. Well, no, 2.5.
2.5
Yeah,
beers
2.5
by the
beers.
end
If
of
we
it.
finish this
And
sentence.
we're going to just quickly put the rest of the ingredients in as well.
Yeah.
Because we probably don't have enough time for that.
No.
So should we do that? We'll do that recording.
Yeah, we do that right.
Should we do a good cheers at the end as well?
Cheers, yeah. Right. Making our that.
We'll do a follow up later at the podcast, but do you want to just yeet it all in? Just
Yeah.
yeet it all in.
Right, it smells proper citrusy now that we've chucked that in there.
It smells like a mash.
It smells like mash.
Yeah.
We're mash hopping with with the Sale Citra. So cheers. Cheers.
I'm just going to show you a bit of a tub POV.
Oh yeah.
Because why not? No one else came in the end. That's the other tub.
Yeah.
That's the
all
door
the
with our
stuff.
stuff. That's the shower.
Shower.
I need to be really careful that I don't get all my stuff all in here. So that's the tap. This is my POV. You
Yeah.
can see Joe there. Hi. This is Joe's POV. I'm really stressed out because it's over the bum. And that's it. Enjoy. We are back in our pub. Well, not our pub, but your pub room.
Fine.
We're recording in your pub room. You've got slightly more space.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. Back from the beer spa. Overall impressions. So I think in the end we probably did about 3, like all in. We probably did 3. I wouldn't even say 3.5. I'd probably say under 3.5, but more than 3, because I topped it up a few times, so it's quite hard to tell.
Yeah, probably. And they like that. What they? I don't know if they weren't full pints. I feel like they were a bit more. They were more than halves. I think. Like 2/3 maybe. They were tankards.
Yeah.
So we did about 3 tankards, I reckon.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more.
I think we could round it up to a pub, just a pint, just to be.
So I reckon it's probably about 3 pints. But I don't think you could do.
I think it was a struggle to even do, and that the only reason I would reckon we did 3, if not slightly over 3, was only because they came in, they gave us a 5-minute warning.
Yeah.
Not long after the last time we checked it on video, and then they were like, "You've got 5 minutes," and we weren't 100% sure if that was 5 minutes till get dressed and leave time, or 5 minutes until we're going to come back and wrap things up time.
Yeah.
I think it was the latter, not the former, because then she was really surprised when we were dressed.
Yeah, then we were ready. So she probably would have come and got us out, and then
in 5 minutes.
ready.
Yeah. But saying that, we topped it up like minimally a few times.
Yeah.
And so I reckon.
And then at the end, they were like, "You can
just fill it up and
fill it."
go
So we were like, "Can we finish this?" Sat in the cafe, and she was like, "Oh, fill it up."
She was like, "Fill it up and
go and sit in the cafe."
So
yeah, I think we got just over 3. Like probably about 3 pints out of it. I don't think you could have drunk much more unless you were properly chugging it, and I don't know why you would.
I think, and I'm sure that when we're at home and we're re-recording this, because this might not even, it might be the sound quality so shit we can't put it on here. But I think if we stop and take a look at this later, and I know that I'll probably agree with how I feel now, I think any more than that would have been too. I would have been too gas. It wasn't particularly like carbonic. No. But it was.
It was still carbonated.
It was carbonated, and I think that you'd have to be chugging it, and and I just kind of think like you're there not then for the purpose of relaxing, but for the purpose of getting free beers, and it's not like it's a cheap. It's not a cheap experience, so I reckon actually you could probably drink more for less money. Yeah. Of a similar quality.
Yeah.
and it's quite warm. So you don't want it, like, it goes to you quite, like, the alcohol. It was only, what would you say, it was 4%?
Yeah, it was 4%.
4%. So it's not, it wasn't boozy,
No.
but it does kind of go to your head quite quickly because you're quite warm in that situation, So I don't think you drink more than that.
I think we were kind of going, it's 4%, it's not that. It's not like aggressively alcoholic or anything. Like, we were kind of going, we could have driven or whatever. Yeah. And then when you get out of the hot water, because it didn't feel that hot at the time.
No, once we came out.
Once we got out, I was like, that was really quite warm.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're in it, I suppose it's that thing they say about the frog, isn't it? When you put the frog and then you gradually heat it up, the frog doesn't realise that it's getting warm around it. Have you never heard of that experience?
No, that feels really sadistic and sad.
Well, yeah, it is.
That's what I think I've heard, like, similar phrases, but like in a really depressing way.
Yes, but because we were in it and it was warm, like it was a very pleasant temperature, and you kind of sat in it and enjoying yourself. But then
you didn't think about it.
No, you didn't think about it. But then when you were out of it, you're like, oh, hello. Yeah, when you're in a swimming costume in that kind of warmth, it's fine. And then when you start putting clothes on, and then we had jumpers and coats because it's January,
extra warm,
then it was like, oh, actually, we are quite warm.
But I even think, like, once we got out, I was like, even before, just still in the swimming costume, I was like, oh,
it's warm.
It's a bit warm, like it's warmer than I thought. And then I think when we, again, like you said, put all the layers on, we sat down with our tankers, I was a bit like, I feel more cozy than I thought that I would. And I think it all kind of, like, because of the heat and everything, it all kind of goes to your head, and then it's like, actually, it's probably good we didn't drown in the end.
Yeah, you want to, I think it's supposed to be a relaxing experience, so you want to allow yourself to have that relaxation and that cozy slowness. Alright, so that was the spa experience, and that was our thoughts afterwards. We're 2 weeks down the line from
at the point of recording, probably about that.
Yeah. So have you had any extra thoughts as you've had time to kind of digest your experience and think about it?
Yes, maybe we can put a link to what I wrote if anybody can be asked to read it, but there's also a TLDR summary at the bottom. But I think for me, I'd quite like to go back and try it again, because I think overall my experience is based on one isolated. I think for me it was enjoyable overall. So I want to be really clear. Like, overall, it was quite enjoyable. I liked it. I thought the beer, I was surprised by how
the beer was
nice
tasty.
The beer was. Yeah, it was quite nice, because I kind of think I went in expecting it to be just all right, but like hadn't really tried that before. They've got more of a trad vibe, Woodfords do. So I was like, maybe it won't be that good. It was great. Overall experience was good. I think for me, it is a tad on the gimmicky side, in the sense of I felt like the direction was like they're not really trained in beer and brewing, and that's cool, that's fine. But then I also don't feel we got a lot of information on the health benefit side, other than like it's great for your joints and muscles and it's positive health impacts. And I kind of felt like I wanted it to be more nerdy, which potentially is just me, but I kind of think like I was excited for it to be a really beer-based experience. Yeah. And I do still feel it was more spa-based. But saying that, I'm wondering if I went back and I experienced the whole of the spa, would I feel slightly different on the value for money that I'm getting out of it? And if I stayed at the hotel, because it looked like there were so many other things you can do there. You can rent a boat, we didn't really eat there or anything. Yeah. So I kind of want to, looking at it as an isolated situation, I don't know how I feel about it being like the most beer-centric thing, but I do think it would make quite a unique gift for somebody that really likes beer, but you don't really know what else to get them.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique experience, I think, for someone who likes beer. I agree. I don't think, like, they're spa people, they're not beer people. So, I mean, when we came in, we're two women, and the lady that was setting us up was like, do you like beer? Can I get you a Prosecco if you don't like beer? And we were like, no, we like beer, it's okay.
To be fair to her, she did.
And I think that's good, because it is like this is a beer thing, but, if you don't like beer, we have other options. And we were like, no, we're beer people, it's okay.
She was like, do you drink beer? Yeah. Or do you want a Prosecco? Or do you want some lemonade? You can make a shandy.
She was like, do you want to make a shandy? And we were like, no.
We're like, no, we like beer. It's okay.
Which is, like, I think that's good, but obviously they're, they're not beer people. And then they were like, oh, there's a tray with the things that are in beer,
My favourite
like
thing.
the things that are added to beer, like malts, hops, salts, and sugars. And we were like, okay.
Yeah. That's where I'm coming from. Was like, I
Yeah.
feel like they could have had I actually think they would benefit from learning more about the brewing process as like it would be fun as a one day thing
Yeah.
to show people how to do that, and not expect them to take that away and do that, but like to maybe understand the background of it, so that when they go and have this intro conversation, which it was very brief, she was so lovely, she was so nice, and you can tell it's not just limited to beer people. So if you got this for a beer person, that'd be fine. But yeah, the second she was like, it's all the things that you add into beers, and she was like, there's malts and hops and salts and sugars. And I was,
and we were like,
yeah,
looked at each other, and we were like, like, but we're coming at this from we are deep in the community.
Maybe we're making a
beer
go.
Geeks, right? Maybe we were. But yeah, we're beer nerds, so we know these things. So I think as a high level, it was fine. Like as a high level, it was fine. It's a fun experience. I feel like I'd like to do more at the spa than just that. Like I'd like to do like a full experience, like go into the mud room maybe, or go have a facial or something.
Oh, that's too messy. I don't like that.
You want to do the mud room? I don't know. I've never done one, so
I think I'd want to like just pay for double beer spa.
Double beer. Well, we could do it. We'll just have double beer spa. That'd be great. And then stay at the
and
place.
The restaurant.
But,
I'd love to stay there.
Like,
I'd love to go on the boat. I'm a boat person.
Yeah, you're a boat person. I wouldn't mind an afternoon tea. But so I think it was good, but I'd like a little bit. Yeah, I'd like to do a little bit more, and maybe stay at the hotel. But then, or like you do it as like an experience with other people. So it's like like a birthday party or something.
Birthdays,
or
anniversaries,
something like that. Like I think
a special occasion for that price point.
I really enjoyed doing it with you, but I'd like to experience it with more people as well.
Rude. I thought you were going to be like, I love doing it with you, but I'd like to do it with Gordon. But instead you were like, I love doing it with you, but I'd like to do it with more people.
More people, but like, what if we went back and we like bought
a ladies' weekend?
Have like a ladies' weekend with the beer ladies. Like
I would like that. Yeah,
that'd be really cool, right? Like, so yeah, I think I enjoyed it. I probably would recommend it to people. But yeah, I'd like a little bit more next time, maybe.
I think for the price point, you have to, like, it has to be. I think I put in my blog post, like, for that price point, it needs to be for something that is more of a special occasion. Yeah. It's not something that you just do unless you lived close by. Yeah. It's not something you just do. And the thing is, like, that price point is only for that one experience. Like, you are not getting to do any of the other spa activities. And it was funny because for the blog post, I started looking into like, well, it's less than a 3-hour flight to fly to Budapest, and it's a 3-hour drive to this area outside Norwich. And I was like, when you look at price points and you compare it, like, actually, how different is it? And if anything, it's kind of made me want to go back to the Norfolk Mead one, and also go to Budapest and to kind of be like, what's the comparison? But like to do it in a way of, because I know when you go to the one that's in Budapest, for example, you have access to the whole spa. Like, you only have the beer spa for 45 minutes, but you have access to the general spa for longer. So I kind of want to do a comparison and be like, actually, what are you at both? Like, how similar is that experience? Like, are you getting a very similar experience? Because like when you look at it visually, they look very similar. But yeah, I agree. I did say I kind of would like to go back with like Rick, just to see, like, try out one of the rooms, try the food, try all that. But yeah, it is definitely a bit spendier, and I think it's because you have to have a minimum of 2 people.
It's an experience, it's a special occasion thing, I think. But I would recommend it.
We did say, I will say as well, out of the 2 pubs, so you stayed at one pub, I stayed at a pub, because of the fact you stayed at Rising Sun, I stayed at King's Head. And that was just because there was neither of them had 2 rooms.
Yeah.
They each had 1. And the only one that Joe could get on hotels.com was the one that I was like, you book that one, I'll book the other.
Spend my points, people.
I went, I'll do the opposite one of you, that's fine.
We made this as economical as we could.
We did. It only cost me fuel, hotel room, and 83 Easter eggs. So size of the Easter eggs was not specified. So I think I'm already about 20 in with the small ones for M&S. So there we go. I pay in full. But I think so the one I stayed at, I really liked the food there. The food was really good and the beer was really good. Yeah. I think the one that you stayed in, for me, the bonus of that was like the room was like, did you find it was quite noisy in the morning, or did you find it was all right? Because I found it was very noisy at night for me in my room.
Yeah, mine wasn't noisy in the morning. It was quite noisy at night. I mean, to be fair, everybody,
it's pub.
We did a bit of day drinking and we went to bed early. So
I felt like I was missing out. I had to walk through the pub. Yours is like literally on a whole separate thing. Like, I had to walk by your pub and then through my pub, and I debated, do I stay for another drink? And I was like, because this is hopping and bopping, like this is great. Yeah. And then I got FOMO going up to the room, and then it was quite noisy, but it was noisy because you're above a pub.
Because you're above a pub, right?
And
so I was like,
I sleep through anything, so it was fine.
Enjoying the pub, it's fine. It's fine. Mine came with breakfast.
Mine did not.
And it was a really tasty breakfast. And they cook it fresh for you, whatever you want. So, none of this buffet nonsense. It was very nice. And it was obviously like local produce that was in the breakfast. So I can recommend that.
I could have, I think, added on breakfast, but I don't do breakfast, so I just didn't bother. But we had the food there in the evening. We had 2 different we shared 2 sandwiches, and we had some beef on a crumpet, and those chips, the chips were great. The French fries were
really good chips.
Literally some of the best fries, and I don't think that was just the beer talking. I think they were literally
they were really good chips.
Perfect. I was like 10 out of 10, 12 out of 10. I don't know what else to give this. And the people there were really lovely, and the beer was really lovely. I think the only thing is when we went to go have a drink at yours, it just happened to be that some of the people around were just like, I was eye rolling because it's just a bunch of sports dudes.
Yeah, there was a bunch
big masculine energy.
They were definitely like rugby players or something, and they were just filling up the bar and
the whole and like she had to be like, "Excuse me," multiple times. Whereas I think the way mine was set up didn't happen because naturally the setup was a different layout.
Yeah, they wanted to be at the bar, and then they just filled up the whole bar so no one else could get drinks, and I was like, "Sirs, I would like."
She literally was like, "Excuse me." Yeah. Excuse me, please.
And they were like, "Oh, sorry." And they were nice. They weren't nice. Obnoxious or anything. They just were big men, and they were taking up a lot of space.
We were just like, "Excuse me, please." I think I came over at one point watching you try to navigate with the drinks, and I was like, "I will come help you now."
It's fine.
But yeah, I don't think you could go wrong. I think like if you're budget conscious and you're trying to do it on a budget because you want to experience it, then I think actually 12-minute walk. I think we went in with the goal. Both of us wanted to drink as much as we could without trying to drink too quickly. We wanted to go normal pace, drink as much as we can, and then stay someplace that's not too expensive. And I feel like this fit the brief. But when I go back, I would really like to see what else is. I'd like to do it for a whole weekend, maybe with Rick, and be like, where else can we go within that area? Because I think that might change the value for money thing for me if I was actually experiencing the whole spa and the coffee shop that was down the corner that I didn't get a chance to go to, and some of the restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it was good. I would recommend it if you're feeling trying out a beer spa but you don't want to go out of the country. I think this is the experience for you.
I agree.
So Tori, if people want to come and find your blog because you've updated it,
I actually wrote a blog.
Where can they find you?
Well, I've changed the whole website because I just went scorched earth.
Da, 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 da.
I completely burned the other one down. I didn't burn it down. It is still there because I will be periodically moving the stuff that I care about across, but I didn't migrate it all. I've set up a completely new blog. It's called adventuresinoptimism.com. I will link it in my Instagram, which is adventures_in_optimism. Or if you want to talk about it even further or give me other recommendations of experiences that I could try out, that would be fun, or other beer spa recommendations of other beer spas you know in the world, you can email me at adventuresinoptimism@gmail.com. Joe, if people want to talk to you about your experience having to go, excuse me, sirs, where can...
You can talk to me about the best way to be polite at a pub. You can do
polite
that.
pub manners.
pub etiquette. You can come talk to me about that. I am Love Beer Learning on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but you're probably more likely to find me on Instagram. Or you can come to my website, which also has a blog in it, but I haven't updated that in ages. So that is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Or you can email me lovebeerlearning@gmail.com.
I think
if you want to connect to both of us, you can come to A Woman's Brew on Instagram, and you can find all of our podcast stuff there.
And I was going to say, I think by the time this comes out, we will potentially have a fully live website, which is a womansbrewpod.beer, because I paid extra, because Muggins paid extra for .beer, because I couldn't not have that, even though this podcast is costing us lots of money. I paid more for .beer. So
it's a labour of love, everybody.
Please go on and enjoy A Woman's Brew .beer, because .pod is not available.
Brilliant. Right, so that's it. We're gonna go and not be at a spa, but still be very relaxed for our evening. So on that note, cheers.